Welcome to another look at Psalm 23. We are taking a walk through the Psalm 23, just drawing out ideas and principles and hopes and helps. For all of us at times find ourselves in valleys. All of us at times find ourselves surrounded by enemies. All of us at times find ourselves vexed and troubled. And this psalm is one that gives us hope, gives us help, gives us ideas, gives us principles that we can cling to. So we'll read through this and we'll draw some ideas out of another piece from this. So the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures, and he leads me beside still waters. He restores my soul, he leads me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup runs over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Boy, there's just a whole bunch of promises and helps there. This is a note that R.C. Sproul made here. The images penned by David in this psalm capture the sense of what it is like to dwell under the care of the great shepherd. We lack nothing. We lie down in green pastures. We're led beside still waters, where God restores our soul. And that's the one we're going to look at this time. Breathing life into our dead hearts and leading us in lives of righteousness. No longer are we bound under the chains of sin that so torment our souls, but we have peace with God. So we've looked at some of these phrases and words already. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not lack, I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. He restores my soul. So we're on number 7 here. And he restores my soul. Well, our soul is our will, our emotions, primarily our emotions, but even our mind. You know, I'm just reminded that it says in 2 Peter chapter 7 about Lot. Lot lived down in Sodom and Gomorrah, and if you go back and read Genesis chapter 19, that was not a happy place. That was a vexing place. So it says, God turned the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah into ashes, condemning them to destruction, making them an example to those who afterward would live ungodly. Listen, and delivered righteous Lot, who was oppressed by the filthy conduct of the wicked. That righteous man dwelling among them tormented his righteous soul day by seeing and hearing their lawless deeds. You and I live in lawlessness. You and I live in wickedness. We live in rebellion. We live among people that mock and belittle God, that reject God. And it beats us up, it knocks us down, it dirties us, it bruises us, it wounds us. We're daily vexed. Our soul gets laden, and so it can be by them out there, but it also can be by our own doings. You know, we can sin against God, and it's like rocks in our backpack. In Psalm 51, he says, wash me thoroughly from my iniquity, cleanse me from my sin, for I acknowledge my transgression, my sin is always before me. So sometimes it's just my own sin that is weighing me down, that's laden me down, and I get burdened by all that. Sometimes it is just a misplaced idea about who God is and what God is up to. I'm just reminded of John the Baptist. You know, he's in prison. He's been a faithful servant to God, and all of a sudden he's in prison. And he said, what's going on here, right? So he sent some disciples to Jesus, and they asked Jesus, are you the one coming, or do we look for another? This is Matthew chapter 11. Jesus answered and said unto them, go tell John the things that you hear and see. The blind see, the lame walk, the lepers are cleansed, the deaf hear, the dead are raised, the poor have the gospel preached to them. So he says, go back and tell John. So what's happened to John? John's in prison, and Jesus has not come to bail him out, right? And he said, well, God, what are you doing? So we can be troubled by the world. We can be troubled by our sin. We can be vexed. We can be just by God is not doing what I think he does. He's not who I think he is. We're asking questions. So all those things can lay on us and lean on us. But what we need to do in all that, again, is to run to the Lord and recommit our lives to the Lord. And we understand that all that he does is faithful and true. Man may mean it for evil, or man may be allowed to do evil, but God makes it good. We're reminded of that in Genesis chapter 50, verse 20. Psalm 32. I will bless, 32, not 34, 32. Blessed is he whose transgression is forgiven, whose sin is covered. Blessed is the man to whom the Lord does not impute iniquity, in whose spirit there is no deceit. I acknowledge my sin, my iniquity, And he says at the end of the chapter, be glad in the Lord, rejoice, you righteous, and shout for joy, all you upright in heart. So God says, bring your burdens, 1 Peter 5:7, casting all your care upon him. He cares for you, and he will pick up the burden, he will carry you, and he will get you through, and he will restore the joy of your salvation. Or here's another one, let's see, Isaiah chapter 50, Isaiah 41, verse 10. Fear not, for I'm with you. Don't be dismayed, I'm your God. I will strengthen you, I will help you, I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. So remember that God offers to pick us up. God will restore us. When we feel like life is beating us down and getting the upper hand, when we feel like that God is distant, or we've got sin in our lives, address that, confess that, and God will bring back the joy to you. And again, even when we're being vexed, we trust God, we look to God, and God says, I will pick you up and I will carry you, even in that Isaiah 41 passage. And then just a verse that's kind of an interesting verse, it's kind of a helpful verse too. It says in Joel 2:25, I will restore to you the years the swarming locust has eaten. You maybe walked in a valley sometime and you've just not done well. God says, I can restore those years. I can restore what was lost. I can bring you back up to speed. So the whole issue here, he says, I will restore your soul. And our joy can be lean, our joy can be lacking, our focus and our hope can get knocked down and beat up by the world or by sin or by our wrong interpretation or our wrong expectations of God. And so we can run to God and be reminded of his promises. His promises are not yea and nay, his promises are yea and yea. He does what he says. You watch that all the way through Scripture. And our souls can be restored. So the good shepherd, he says, I will restore your soul. That's just that's just a helpful idea. In fact, that's probably my favorite phrase in all of Psalm 23. He says, I will restore your soul. Because there are things that beat us up, knock us down, and vex us. But he says, God said, but I can restore joy, I can restore hope, I can restore the love, I can restore peace. Come to me, trust me, cast your care upon me, and I will restore your soul. A beautiful, beautiful truth there in Psalm 23. All right, we'll keep working on these ideas, and may these things, these pieces and parts and these words be helpful to you as you navigate life in whatever stage of life that you find yourself in. All right, catch you next time.